Hello and good morning. Happy Tuesday. This is November 19th, Tuesday, and this is my monthly podcast every third Tuesday of the month. And let's dive right into it. Let's share my screen with you and see what we're going to talk about today. So today we're going to talk about where are the interest rates heading? What is the difference between interest rates and mortgage rates? I get this question quite often. When is a good time to buy in California? You might be surprised about the answer for that. Homeowners insurance, difficult to get. Prevent common buyer mistakes. This is especially gearing up for the next year if you're planning to buy because the market is turning. And about 80% of buyers could get state or government down payment assistance, but don't know about it? Seriously? If you are planning to buy a home, this is usually the biggest investment most people make in their lifetime, and you haven't explored all your avenues to have the biggest benefit. That's on you. You really need to have a mortgage broker, not a lender, in my opinion. I got two mortgage brokers that are really fantastic. One is Cat Whitman, the other one is Ron Glasser. Worked with both of them. Cat Whitman did my property, my loan, my mortgage. And Ron Glasser, I worked with him on some incredible deals. We just had a deal a few listings back where the couple had a down payment assistance of $116,000. The property was 540, so 430 whatever they're paying off for 30 years, and the 116,000 doesn't have to be paid back until the mortgage is paid off, which may be another 10 years afterwards. However, I know it sounds like they're paying a lot of years, but if you're renting, you're paying forever. And he's got nothing. So if that's the way to get in, that's the way to get in. And there's a lot of programs like that out there. So let's figure out where are the interest rates heading, right? So let's look at this screen real quick here, because here is the thing what most people get confused. Let's see where the mortgage rates are right now. Let's look at this here. Just to be updated, 7.08 for 30-year fixed. Now, when people hear that the interest rate went down, which is here, this is the federal interest rate, right? So this is at 4.75. So remember, the interest rates just dropped about half a point a month ago, but that was the federal interest rates. And a lot of people think that, the mortgage rates are going down as well. Not at all at this time. This time went the opposite. It actually went up. So the interest rates, the federal interest rates came down, the mortgage rates went up, and are still hovering around 7.0. Now, I just talked to my friend Ron Glasser, and he is able to get a 6.5. So again, if you have a mortgage broker, which I highly recommend, because a lender with a specific bank only does that particular bank. A mortgage broker has access to way more sources, more lending sources, and you'd be surprised what kind of deals you can get if you really shop around and have a broker that looks out for your best interest. And having said that, I just want to point you to this real quick here. If you go to my website, shadlerrealtor.com, which is right here, this one here. So you go to shadlerrealtor.com. If you scroll down here on the right side is you click on this, and it's a down payment assistance. This here you have to check and see if you're eligible. You put in your information. Then obviously you would go to the next page where you then put in your email address and your contact information. And then you will be sent programs that sometimes can be very, very lucrative, sometimes up to $350,000 down payment assistance. This is huge, right? This is very, very huge. Let's look at real quick what the other question I had. When is it a good time to buy? So we discussed this. What is the difference between interest rates and mortgage rates? They are connected, but they don't move in unison. It's very important to know that, but you got to keep an eye on it, especially buyers. If you're thinking about buying in the next year, this is what I think is going to happen. Now, the Feds have announced 5 more rate cuts, right? I'm not sure if they're going to do that because, let me share that screen with you, because inflation has flared up a little bit. And this is, of course, an issue, right? This is not, let's see, where was it? Here, current U.S. inflation rate is 2.6 in October. So if inflation keeps going up, the rates will also go up to keep pace with it. So I would almost say that the inflation rate and the mortgage rates are more closely related than the interest rates, the federal interest rates, although they are as well. But again, they do not move in unison. This is very important to know. Now, I have an email I'm sending out to my database, which looks something like this. So in about, actually, I should have received it already. So here is the reason 2025 is the year to buy a home in California. California's desirable climate and geographical variety, from mountains to desert to the mix of big cities and suburbs, contribute to housing prices that are often higher than in other parts of the country. However, things are shifting, and some experts say that 2025 may be the year to consider buying a home here. Single-family home sales are expected to increase by 10.5% in 2025 to 304,400 units, according to the data from California Associated Realtors. If mortgage rates might ease, potential buyers previously priced out could find a more favorable environment. But home prices will continue to rise. They're expected to do so at a slower pace than in the past few years. So getting in now will be better than waiting a few years. Unlike the rapid price hikes of recent years, this gradual appreciation rate can offer buyers more predictable investment returns. So this is important to know. Another thing I really want to point out, this is important to know. I think, let me see if we can listen to this real quick. Yeah, we would have advertisement. Anyway, I recommend that you would listen to this because there are some interesting buyer mistakes that people make, and they can be sometimes very, very costly. And this is, again, first of all, you have to have a good team of people who work with you, the broker and the real estate agent. And then let's see what it says here. If you just listen to this real quick.
What's likely the biggest trend? No one likes making mistakes, especially when they happen in what's likely the biggest transaction of your life, buying a home. That's why partnering with a trusted agent is so important. Here's a sneak peek at the most common missteps buyers are making in today's market and how a great agent will help you steer clear of each one. Trying to time the market. Many buyers are trying to time the market by waiting for home prices or mortgage rates to drop. This can be a really risky strategy because there's so much at play that can have an impact on those things. As Elijah De La Campa, senior economist at Redfin, says, my advice for buyers is don't try to time the market. There are a lot of swing factors that could cause the housing market to take unexpected twists and turns. If you find a house you love and can afford to buy it, now's not a bad time. Buying more house than you can afford. If you're tempted to stretch your budget a bit further than you should, you're not alone. A number of buyers are making this mistake right now. But the truth is, it's actually really important to avoid overextending your budget, especially when other housing expenses like home insurance and taxes are on the rise. You want to talk to the pros to make sure you understand what'll really work for you. Bankrate offers this advice. Focus on what monthly payment you can afford rather than fixating on the maximum loan amount you qualify for. Just because you can qualify for a $300,000 loan doesn't mean you can comfortably handle the monthly payments that come with it along with your other financial obligations. Missing out on assistance programs that can help saving up for the upfront costs of home ownership takes some careful planning. You've got to think about your closing costs, down payment, and more. And if you don't work with a team of experienced professionals, you could miss out on programs out there that can make a big difference for you. This is happening more than you realize. According to Realtor.com, almost 80% of first-time buyers qualify for down payment assistance, but only 13% actually take advantage of those programs. So, talk to a lender about your options. Whether you're buying your first house or your fifth, there may be a program that can help. Not leaning on the expertise of a pro. This last one may be the most important of all. The very best way to avoid making a mistake that's going to cost you is to lean on a pro. With the right team of experts, you can easily dodge these missteps.
Yeah, so this is very important what he says here, because you got to have a team of experts, your lender and real estate agent, that really work on your best behalf and have your best interest at heart. And it's amazing how many, like he said, 80% of first-time homebuyers would qualify for a down payment assistance program, but don't know about it. And only 13%, I think he said, are actually taking advantage of that. That's a big mistake, in my opinion, because like I said before, we had a deal where a gentleman or couple got $116,000 down payment. We had another deal where Another gentleman got 90,000 from the state down payment assistance and 25 from the government. Sometimes you can combine some programs. So it's really important to find this out. Also, in case you didn't know, if you have owned a property before, but have not owned a property in the last 3 years, you're automatically a first-time home buyer again, and you get the same benefits as a first-time home buyer. So let's look real quick on the housing inventory. First of all, let's have a look and see how many. So this is the U.S. existing home inventory complete, right? So this is 1.39 million. This includes townhouses, condominiums, and single-family residences, right? And it's interesting when you look at here, this data here. So just here, this was, sorry, let me go back into the 21 and 22, the COVID time, how low the inventory was compared to now, right? So this is where everything just sold really, really quickly. Let's see this here. This is the total inventory of single family residences, roughly, because there are some discrepancies. Because here, for example, Altos Research says 722,000. It definitely has gone up. So the inventory is increasing. But you have to remember, too, the inventory is increasing not only because more listings come to the market. There was a bottleneck issue because less buyer activity kind of stocked everything up. So it is increasing, but not really the way most people think. New contracts pending. Home sales are still averaging 10% above last year. So this is great. This is improving compared to last year. This is a sign that things are changing. 6% more listings this week than last year. Again, there's a little bit more. Could also be because less buyer activity. Seller reduced asking prices less aggressively in 2024. So this is definitely also decreasing the price reductions that people have to make. And just to give you a quick insight here, approximately total housing units, this includes everything from single family residences to townhouses and condominiums, but this is not what's on the market. This is what's in existence, right? Roughly. And when it comes to homes, single family homes, it would be around 86 million units. You know, again, this is not the current inventory. This is the existent number of units in the United States at this point in time. Let's see, what else did we have to, oh yeah, homeowners insurance. So here's the thing. With homeowners insurance, it's very similar to with a lender. You need to have a broker. I would recommend an insurance broker, not just an insurance, whatever name you want to call it, because there are several insurance companies that have stopped offering homeowners insurance in California. And since America is a free market, other companies have jumped in and taken that position, taken that place. However, their pricing is almost 2 or 3 times as much. You know, this is just this situation we're dealing with right now. So there is insurance available. It's just much more expensive. A lot of people combine homeowners insurance with the California Fair Plan and additional insurance. Sometimes you have to do it in Malibu, for example, in certain cases where there's more fire risk. But the important thing is, if you don't have your home insurance figured out by the time you close escrow, or even open escrow, you're not going to be able to close escrow because the lender won't allow it. What if something happens, the house burns down, the house is gone, the money is gone, right? So they're not going to take that chance unless, of course, you're a cash buyer. You know, that's a different story. By the way, cash buyers right now are in the driver's seat because if the interest rates are high, as they are, fairly high, 7%, up to 7%, there is less buyer activity. And therefore, if you're coming with cash, you're the king. Cash is king, the old saying, right? You can go in and make a really good offer. Like we had this deal in Playa Vista a few months ago. I saved my client $130,000 because it was a cash deal, right? We were aggressive. We had 2 other offers and we actually got it, right? So of course, that's a different story. If you have cash, you don't have to worry about insurance, although it wouldn't be smart not to have insurance because it's a big asset you want to insure. Let's see what else we had on our list really quick here. I'm trying to make this as quick as possible. Yeah, so we went to the common buyer mistakes. This is huge. So definitely, if you're thinking about purchasing a house this coming year, 2025, I would recommend to really watch the interest rates cut because the government says, or they said they were going to have another 5 rate cuts. I'm not sure if that's going to happen with the inflation kind of ticking up, so there might only be 3. However, if you see, as a buyer, I would really pay close attention to where the mortgage rates, not the interest rates, where the mortgage rates are heading. If they're being cut, let's say from 7 to 6.5, 6.5 to 6, and if they're in the high 5s, I think that might be a good time to buy, because there's a good chance if inflation eases that interest rates, mortgage rates will come down even further, and then you can refinance later. But what you're really doing is you're outperforming the competition, right? Because if everybody buys at the same time, well, prices will go up, demand goes up, and there's not enough inventory then, and then you're going to have a bidding war. Where if you go in early, you may be paying just a slightly bit more, but you can refinance later, and that will make up the difference. So this is something you have to figure out. And just like in the audio recording, you really have to make sure that you can afford your monthly payments. Overextending is not a good idea. People have that tendency to do that. They go look at houses, and all of a sudden they find a house that's a little bit higher priced than they really wanted to, and they're trying to make it. But then you could end up in a sticky situation, because really what happened also was during this time now where everything got so expensive, right? So some people, for example, had to put aside a 20% down payment, because based on their calculations of the house that they want, they can only afford the monthly payment if they make a 20% down payment. But some of them had to tap into that fund because life got expensive, so they have to replenish that. So it's important to really do your math and figure this out so you don't overextend yourself. If you have any questions about this, feel free to call me at 310-918-2260. You can also go to shadesofrealtor.com for more information. If you'd like no obligation meeting discussing buying or selling a property, I'd be glad to do that. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next month. Thank you so much.